friends, welcome back to another video. So this is the second part of the business studies revision for paper 1. So I will be doing some theory on market environment and the macro environment, and also showing you some questions and how to answer them. So this is a learner support documents compiled by the KwaZulu-Natal Province of Education. So it's just to help, it's just basically questions. So I'm going to be showing you those questions. So this whole week we are doing business studies. I did the micro environment. It's quite a huge chapter. So I did it on a single video. Check yesterday's video. So today we'll be doing this business studies step ahead revision 2024. So it's very important that with the micro market and macro environment, that you know the components of each market and you are able to identify a component of each market when you are given a scenario. So that is how they like to test you on market, micro and macro environments. You need to know when you see a scenario, you must be able to identify components of those different type of markets. So without wasting any more time, let's get into it. Please like the video, comment, subscribe to the channel. It helps us grow. So like, comment, please, very, very important. Let's get right into it. So for paper 1, we have the micro environment, market environment, macro environment, interrelationships of micro, market, and macro environment. And then we also have business sectors and contemporary socioeconomic issues for paper 1. So we did micro yesterday. Today is going to be market and macro environment. And then we will do interrelationships of micro, market, and macro environment. So, and then we still have business sectors, contemporary socioeconomic issues. So, without wasting any more of your time again, we've already done that. Okay, let's just get right into this theory. All right, so this is the overview of the market environment. So, remember, in the market environment, the business has little control. So, in the micro, it has total control, is because it's within the organization, but with market it has little control. Just as a recap, we have those are the components of micro environment, the components of market environment, the target market. We have the target market, which is the customers or consumers or clients. It's one thing. Customers, consumers, clients is one thing. Then we have suppliers, intermediaries, competitors, and other organization. And then we have the macro environment, which we will be doing later. We have technological environment, international environment, economic environment, social, cultural, and demographic environment. We have legal environment, legal, institutional environment, and then we have political environment. So make an acronym such as TIE-SLEEP to remember the components of macro environment. So you see, and for you to remember the 8 business functions, I said fun and games have made production pure pleasure. That's how you can remember the 8 business functions. So making yourself some acronyms will help you remember everything all the time. So remember, we have suppliers, customers, intermediaries, civil society organizations, and competitors under the market environment. So inside, in the blue shaded circle, we have the micro environment, which is the business, and then just outside the business, it's the market environment. So in the market environment, we have things, what we call customers, consumers, or you can say clients, right? So customers form the market of the business. Market is who are we servicing, who are we selling to is the market. So customers form or make up the market of the business. So they're very important people because without them, businesses would not be existing. So customers are quite a vital part of businesses. So customers pay goods and services to satisfy their needs. A business creates a product that satisfies needs of customers, and as customers take their own money to purchase that good to satisfy their needs. So we have Maslow classify needs into a hierarchy. So we have level 1 needs, level 2 needs, level 3, level 4, and level 5 needs. So they say level 1 needs is biological and psychological needs. And then level 2 we have safety needs. Level 3 we have belongingness and love. And then level 4 we have esteem needs. And then 5 we have self-actualization. So consumers identify products or services they would like to buy, and they consider prices. So for every product, there is a price that a consumer is willing to buy that product for. Taking into consideration that consumers behave differently, they have different priorities. So someone might see a 25 rand for a 2-liter Coke as too much, but someone might feel like Coke is amazing. So I would prefer to pay that price because of how amazing the product is. So they consider price and the value they get out of that. And then there are factors that control consumer behavior. How you can classify consumer behavior and choices are influenced by cultural factors. So you will see that people buy things because of cultural factors, social factor, personal and psychological factors. So there are different factors that contribute towards a consumer making a decision on whether to purchase a product or not to. So we have cultural factors. Number 1, cultural factors differ from country to country. So even in South Africa, we have our own cultural factors, or even in South Africa itself, different provinces have their own cultural factors, right? Sometimes it may be dominant on the type of church that has a lot of people in that area. So people will follow that church's culture. And if certain foods are not eaten in that church, you will find that a lot of people in that particular district or province will not eat certain types of meats, let's say pork for instance, because it's not eaten in a church where a lot of people go to. So those are like cultural factors as well. Or we have different types of tribes, like if you can see in Free State, the Sotus, they like eating lamb, as opposed to like Eastern Cape and KwaZulu-Natal, they prefer goats. So you see, so there might be a big market for goats somewhere in another province than in the other, right? So cultural factors differ from country to country and can be based on religion, geographical area, race, and favorite hobbies. Just like in Durban, we have so many Indians in Durban. So Indians are known for spices. So you will find a lot of spice stores in Durban as opposed to other areas of the country. So those are cultural factors. And then we have social factors. These social factors include reference groups. So let's say in you or whoever with a group of people that they associate with only love certain products based on their association. So everybody in your group eats this, or everybody in your group is exposed to this type of food, so that's all you eat. Let's say you stay in the suburbs, you are exposed to certain types of restaurants that do not serve things that are served maybe in a CBD. So you only maybe go to malls, so we don't necessarily have where places where you they spap cooked with spinach maybe and chicken. Where you stay, you only have chips, fried chicken, burgers, and all that, and you don't have fat cakes, but someone is exposed to having fat cakes. So whatever the social factors, how what our social statuses will determine a customer choices. What are they going to gravitate towards because of their social status and where they stay and their surroundings? If they like, I'm craving this, someone might be craving a burger, an egg benedict, and somebody else is craving fat cakes because that's what they're exposed to on a daily basis. And then we have personal factors. Factors are age, occupation, lifestyle, economic situation, personality, and self concept. So when we have personal factors, it might be just your personal preference because of you as a person. So you just prefer this because it makes you feel a certain way. Some people like everything with them has to be about aesthetics because they just like to feel good. So aesthetics makes it for them. So they will just eat food that match their aesthetics preference. And while other people don't mind, like food is food. As long as my stomach is full. Those are kind of personal factors. And then we have psychological factors. And there are four psychological factors or needs that affect buying behavior. It's motivation. Sometimes you have been motivated by someone. Someone has been raving about something. Oh my goodness, the whole day this person has been talking about this. I also want to try it. So you are motivated. And also perceptions that when you buy something at a mall, it will taste better because oh it's expensive. There's a perception that what is expensive tastes better than what is cheap. So you just buy expensive food because you feel like expensive food is the only food that tastes nice. Or someone may say the cheaper the food, the better the taste. When it's expensive, it's a la carte, things that I don't even understand. So I just don't like fancy restaurants when someone prefers them. And then it's learning also. You're trying to learn maybe a different culture. You might decide I'm just going to buy a certain culture's food so that I can just learn. And then beliefs and attitudes, like yeah, whatever that you believe will affect what you buy. And then business classify customers according to demographics and lifestyle characteristics. So as a business, when you are trying to cater for a more high end market, you will position your store in a high market area where people in that area have a higher lifestyle. But when you're trying to accommodate everyone and bring it down, your demographics, where your business is also key. So if you are trying to cater for the middle class and the lower class, you need to go to a certain part of town. But if you're looking for the high class, then you have to go in an environment that will enable the high class people to purchase because they go to that area. So that is how businesses differentiate. We have like Pep Store. Let's take Pep Store for instance. It's everywhere, right? Even in small towns, it's for everybody. It's catering for people who are barely don't have money to spend on luxury items. So they're just offering low prices for more. And then you will go to like Woolworths. Woolworths is not everywhere, right? It has a specific target market. So the target market will say it's more on the higher, they earn a bit higher. So that is the difference. How you would have a store like Woolworths and Pep Store, different. So targeting different customers. So we have demographics characteristics, that you have it lifestyle characteristics, and managers do research on these factors to identify sales opportunities, yes, where they can find more people to buy. And then number two, we have suppliers. The business needs input to produce goods and services. So when we are selling, we need someone to supply us with either raw material or whatever that we will need in order to carry on business as usual. So it is very, very important that we get input from suppliers at the right time, right price, right quantity, and right quality. So when you are pricing or you've got quotations from different suppliers and choosing where to buy from, choose the best time. They deliver at the best times. You are going to get the product at the best times. They're not gonna wait for a long and you don't have anything to solve for your customers and you're still saying, I'm waiting on a supplier, waiting on a supplier. And then the right price, the price should make sense. The price should make business sense. And the quality should be exceptional, and that price, right? And the quantity. So you must be able to get enough. You must be able to get enough of the money that you have spent. And the business must maintain good relationships with suppliers. It's very important. Compare cost, quality, and service of new suppliers. When new suppliers in town, try to order from them and see what you can get different from what you currently have with the supplier. So examples of supplier are banks and shareholders are suppliers of capital. So we have suppliers of capital and suppliers of workers and suppliers of raw material. You see? So it's the supplier of capital, which is money, supplier of human resources, which is people working for you, and then we have the supplier of raw material. And then after suppliers, we will talk about intermediaries. So an intermediary is actually a middleman between the consumer and the supplier. In this instant, a supplier is somebody who, let's say for instance, we are producing shoes, leather shoes. The supplier will be a person that is selling leather shoes to us. So an intermediary will be a person who is standing between the supplier and the customer, right? So those people who are standing before the customer and suppliers can be retail stores. Those who go to factories, buy leather, stock it, and then sell it in town, because the factories are in an industrial area. Always it's outside of town and you have to travel a bit more distance to get there. So intermediaries are special types of suppliers. They do not necessarily manufacture the products they use, but they stock those goods from their producer. So we have wholesalers, retailers, agents, spaza shops, banks, insurance brokers, micro lenders, advertising agencies, telecommunication providers, and transport firms and e-commerce websites. So functions of intermediaries, they add place value, time value, and ownership value. With place value, they bring products close to customers. With time value, they open longer than manufacturers would open. So their trading hours are quite longer. And then there's ownership value. So banks supply finance by means of loan, credit cards. So they give you a sense of ownership. You are able to own that product. And then we have competitors. Competitors are people that are competing with the business for the market, right? Whatever that you're selling, there are people that are selling. Just like Aquafresh and Colgate are competitors, right? Because you can either choose to buy Aquafresh or Colgate, right? So if the other one does not perform good, consumers will gravitate more towards the one that is best performing. So monitoring the target. So competitors are all the businesses that provide similar product or service. So in order for the business to keep support of the market, they have to monitor their target market. What are they doing? What are now into? And promote customer loyalty, and also keep an eye on competitors. Now there are three types of competitors. There are first competitors are people who sell the same kind of products, right? Like people who sell tea and like the toothpaste one that I've just did. And then the second category of competitors are people who who offer similar products but in different types of businesses, right? For instance, a hardware store and game could sell similar product. So a hardware store is a store that is hardware, like DIY. Those are hardware stores. Sorry. And game has also food in store, right? Game has food, has furniture, but they can also sell things that the hardware store DIY also sells. And then category 3, we have stores that are completely different and can also compete with each other. Just like Some people would prefer to buy garden stuff rather than hardware stuff. You see, so those people are also competing. It's another category of competitors. And then number 4, we're going to talk about civil servants. Now, civil society is all groups that have an actual or potential interest in or impact on an organization's ability to achieve its objective. So anyone who could have interest in the business, even if that person does not buy, is regarded as part of civil society. So we have categories of civil society. We have maybe credit bureaus, large stock firms. We have media, radio, and newspaper. They can write about your business, even if they don't support it. So they just have interest in it. There's public interest in your business. So that public is also citizen action, environmental activists, questioning acts of businesses. So they might just put all the attention on you and find out if you are not harming the environment with your business. We have neighborhood residents and community organizations. In every communities, there are different organizations that look for the interest of different things. And then for neighborhood is people around where the business is located. There are people around, so those people are neighborhood. And then general public is community as a whole. So there are examples of formal organizations in civil society. Different forms of organization play a role in the market environment. Some are community-based, CBOs are community-based, and NGOs are non-governmental organization. So we have the CBOs and the NGOs. SANCU, we have the CCMA, we have COSATU, like the trade unions as well. So those are examples of formal organizations in civil society. So we have regulators. The government creates a number of regulators that have to oversee the operations of part of civil society. So regulators are people that all the bodies that are formed by government to make sure that business are regulated. So they adhere to certain rules set by government. So regulators, they're not necessarily buying from the business, but they have interest because they have to make sure that you comply. And then we have strategic allies. A strategic ally is somebody in whom you go into agreement with, or hey, we will look after for each other's interest. So we are forming a strategic ally together, looking out for each other's interest. So businesses that can come together and be like, we'll help each other. If I don't have a product and it's in your store, I will tell customers about it so that they can go to your business. So they're just forming a strategic ally. It's just like a partnership of some sort, but it's only for a cause. It's not like long term. It's always mostly it's just always for like short term. And then we have opportunities and threats in the market environment. Just remember that opportunities and threats, guys, are external. Opportunities and threats are external. So that is why we will have opportunities and threats, and the market environment is external. We just have little control over it, not full. So the opportunities and threat with regards to customers and consumers. How are customers and opportunities, and how can customers be a threat to the business? So they can be an opportunity if market research for new customers. If you have done new market research and you want to get new customers, that's an opportunity. And then threats is the Consumer Protection Act. So you cannot a threat is that you cannot harm customers and your actions will go unnoticed. The Consumer Protection Act will come for you. And then opportunities with regards to suppliers. You can negotiate discounts. That's an opportunity you have with a supplier. Negotiate discount. A threat that you have is that if there is a strike somewhere, your suppliers will increase their prices. So there will be an increase in raw material. And bank and insurance companies can also increase their premiums. And then we have opportunities with intermediaries. So intermediaries can broaden the market. The opportunity with intermediaries is that they can broaden the market. So more intermediaries in the market, it broadens the market. And then third may be that the intermediaries may influence pricing. and marketing strategies. Maybe bad advertising just for the products to be bought. And then we have competitors. Competitors can come up with new ideas to gain advantage. Competitors are people that you're competing with who are selling the same product as you. And then threats, we have competitors can steal customers. Competitors can copy also your ideas. Those are threats. And then opportunities with civil societies, that good relationship can create positive image. So as a business, you need to have a good relationship with whoever you are operating. People that, if you're operating in a certain town, you must have good relationships with people and all the groups there. Third is that pure relationship can destroy the image. We are done with market environment. So another thing, this is SA questions that you an SA question you can get with the market environment. They can say identify customers, intermediaries, suppliers, competitors, and civil society organization. You are going to write customers, intermediaries, suppliers, competitors, and civil society organization. And then you analyze and discuss impact on business. How does customers impact businesses? How does intermediaries impact business? How does suppliers impact business? How does competitors impact business? How does civil society impact business? It can be a positive impact or a negative impact. And then you go and you also write the opportunity. The opportunity the business has with regards to customers, as I've said, that you can learn, you can make market research with customers, right? With intermediaries, the opportunity with intermediaries that they broaden. I just did them. The market, right? And then you also want to do threats as well. That is what this essay will need, and you write exactly that. um I think we stopped recording, but I don't know where. So I was talking about the economic environment. The economic environment includes the balance of payment. As a business, you cannot control the balance of payment. The balance of payment is where the transaction of a country and other countries are recorded. So you cannot control that. You cannot control the stages of the business cycle. You cannot control income distribution and redistribution. So income distribution is the level of how rich are the rich and how poor are the poor, right? So it will impact on the size of the market of a product. So many poor people lead to a small market for luxury goods. As only basics can be afforded. And now the redistribution of income is when you are giving attention towards the poor and disadvantaging the rich, so that we can merge the gap, so that there must not be a big gap between the poor and the rich. That is income redistribution. So you cannot control unemployment as a business. You cannot control HIV and AIDS, and you cannot control inflation and tax. So unit 3, we have social, cultural, and demographic environment. So social and cultural aspects cover customs, religion, language, lifestyle, values, attitude towards right and wrong of the society. And demographics refer to age, gender, education, skills, racial group in society. So you see, you can also not control that, the social, cultural, and demographic environment as a business, but you can adapt or influence it. And there's also the technological environment. China is probably leading with technology. Technology refers to all the ways in which people use tools or machines to make work easier. So that is technology. It makes life easier. So the production process use machinery, automated equipment. But daily business operation make use of computer, fax, managing finances on computer programs. That is because of technology. Makes life very easy. So technology changes business. Technology has changed business in a sense that there's now online shopping, right? There is new material. New material are produced to replace harmful products. For example, new insulation material replace asbestos. You see? And then we have robots technology. We also have computer technology in the office. So computers took away jobs of typists but created jobs for data capturers. And then we also need barcodes now. That is how technology affects the business. And then we have legal and political environment. So in the political environment, a good relationship between stable government and business creates a positive political environment. So unstable government and poor relationship between the government and the business creates a negative political environment. So it's easy for businesses. It's not easy. It's important for businesses to have a relationship with government and government to have a relationship with businesses, because businesses pay tax to government. So when government hears the cry of businesses, businesses are able to flourish and perform better, and the government in turn makes revenue. That's how government impacts businesses. So for legal environment, we have laws where rules are made by parliament and rules that affect businesses, like when government introduced things like National Credit Act, Consumer Protection Acts, and so forth, is because of is the legal environment and courts, labor courts, CCMAs. If you unfairly dismiss an employee, the legal environment your business will be affected by the legal environment. So that's how the legal environment affect businesses. And then we have the international environments. Events that take place elsewhere in the world and outside the borders of South Africa can have an impact on the economy. Just look at the Ukraine and Russian war. It had a significant impact on South Africa and the livelihoods of people. Inflation spiked, and the COVID-19 pandemic, which happened globally. It affected one country and the virus started distributing to other parts of the world. So that is the international. And then we have the institutional environment. This environment refers to the official and non-official procedures to do business and the institutions involved in this procedure. By starting a company, so the institutional environment, we're talking about things like SARS, CIPC with the company, where companies are registered, and registering with the Department of Labor, also UIF and stuff like that. So other institutional environment, a business needs to register for tax purposes, VAT. The company that is operating needs to be registered with the CIPC, and you also have to register with UIF. So examples of non-official procedures are getting to know customers and traditions of people in the area of trade. So when a business is operating in a certain area, they must try to get to know the customers and the traditions in the area of where they are operating, and belonging to a chamber of commerce. So you must belong to a chamber in that vicinity in order to belong. So that's it for the macro environment. Let's look at the interrelations between the three markets: micro, market, and macro. So interrelationship between environments is how do they relate? That's how you have to know. How does the market environment relate to the micro environment to the macro environment? So you have to know the relationship between these three markets. Is very, very important, right? So we're going to look at how they relate. You look at the components of micro environment, the components of market environment, and how do micro and market environment relate. You look at internal business and consumers, internal business and suppliers, internal business and intermediaries, internal business and competitors. So that is how the market and the micro, they relate, in which customers are external, are in the market environment, but they buy from the business. Within the business, intermediaries also, they link the business, us as the business, to our customers. And then we have interrelationship between the three environments as well. So we'll look at components of micro environment, components of market environment, and the relationship between micro and market, and the three. So let's look at the relationship of the three environments. This is the summary of three business environments. So here we have their components, right? These are the components of each environment, and each of the three environment, they influence one another, right? So the micro environment influence the market environment through its strategies. When we are trying to get more customers, the market environment will be affected because we are going to be advertising. People are, the market environment will be, the customers will be able to know about our products and stuff like that. So whatever decision that is made in the macro will affect the micro, right? And us trying to hire people, as a business, we're trying to hire more people. It will affect the macro environment, which is the legal environment. People need to be registered and all that. So it is very important. Even when we trying to open a business in a certain area, that is a micro environment. Macro environment will be affected in a sense that there are demographics there, and we cannot control how buildings are and all that. So this three markets go together and they relate. So you can learn and read more of that theory. And how do they relate? They do relate, but how? So components of the micro environment, we have the business, the 8 business functions, right? So there is direct influence of management functions on each other. For example, if the purchasing department does not purchase the material needed for to manufacture a product or service at best prices, the market department will not be able to sell it at a good price. So general management is responsible for running the business. If they don't motivate employees, production and profits will suffer. So these 8 business functions, they also have a direct influence on each other. If the general manager slacks and the general management does not do its job, other departments will suffer because they depend on the general management to stay motivated. You see, so that is how the different functions depend on each other. Like the purchasing department does not purchase material needed for manufacturing, which means the production department will suffer as well because they will not be able to produce. And then we have influence of the other factors of the micro environment on each other. Organizational culture, how employees are treated by management and how they treat each other. And then we have a positive organizational culture will lead to a high level of production, leading to increased profit. Mission, vision, and objective. This describes what the business wants to do. If the mission, vision, and goals are not clear, management will not be able to plan, organize properly. So do you see how the components interrelate with each other in a business? So you can read that. And then we have interrelations between those. That is the interrelation between the microenvironment. This is the interrelatedness between components of the market environment. How the components of the market environment relate to each other. So internal businesses and consumers. The behavior of consumers will influence the microenvironment to a large extent. As the buying power of consumers decrease, the business will have to put marketing strategies in place to attract customers. So this is how the micro and the market environment relate. When everything the business has to do, if customers don't buy, the business needs to come up with strategies to make customers buy, which is what the market environment correlates with the micro environment. The business plan internally, but whatever they have to plan has to go outside and reach customers. So customers are in the market environment. And then we have internal business and supplier. How does the business relate with supplier? If a supplier goes out of business, it can have a serious effect on the business. So if the supplier that is supplying us does no longer supply what it supplies, that is going to affect us as a business. And then we have the business and intermediaries. So if an intermediary negotiates a new market in other country, it will have an impact on a few departments, including purchasing, finance, marketing, and administration in the business, because the production of the company will have to increase, right? So if the intermediary now has new prices, the production is going to be affected, because now we'll buy at higher prices. And then we have the business and competitors. Business competitors bringing a new product onto the market can cause business sales to drop. So new competitors coming into the market affect the business, because the market share of the business will go down and people will go to the competitor. So that is how these different markets relate. Try to make your own scenarios, try to make your own examples to see how they relate. Make sense is very important. You can pause this video, try to do this one word, and I'll give you answers now. So these are the answers to question 1. So it is very important to be able to identify components of different markets by just being given scenarios or sentences. Like, for instance, now this 2.1 is say identify the components of the market environment from the statement below. A farmer provides ngwane juice manufacturers with apples for their juice. What can you say that is? It's a supplier who is supplying. We are ngwane is selling juice, apple juice. Ngwane juice manufacturers produce juice. Now a farmer provides them with apples for that apple juice that they buy. And then ngwane juice manufacturers work with ram semi-wholesalers and Nozoleka retailers to distribute their products to consumers. So those are intermediaries. So they work with ram semi-wholesalers and Nozoleka retailers to distribute their product. That is intermediaries. And then we have the African Juice recently opened their shop selling fruit juice in the area. So that is a competitor. They're also it's a competitor, a newly opened store. And then you have to explain the consumer as a component of the market environment. That's where you say the consumer buys from the business, they form the market of the business. So consumers are classified, and consumer behavior, that's where you talk about factors that control consumer behavior. It's 4 marks, so just make sure you give out 4 points in that question. Answer, if you have 4 marks, answer 4 marks. It's very important, guys, unless you are told list 3, list 2, list 4, list 5. But if you are given 6 months, try to give 6 answers or 3 answers if you know there is only 3 answers. Okay, list 2 example of each of the following. Unions, you have to give an example of an union. A union is you can say COSATU. And then for NGOs, non-government organization, regulators, you can say maybe SARS or CCMA. And then strategic allies, you can say 2 businesses. Yeah, it's businesses. Those are strategic allies. And then for NGOs, what can we say NGOs are? NGO, but it has to be a organization that is started. It's not a government organization, but it's an independent body. I can't think of any right now. So you see, you're gonna use the table below as a guide. You're gonna use unions. You're gonna type 2 types of unions. So it's very important for you guys to know these things. And then you are asked to define the meaning of term market environment. What is a market environment? A market environment exists outside the business. The business has no control over the business. and the market environment deals with how the business sells the product, who they sell to, who supplies them, and all that. So it's very easy to answer this type of questions. And then we see you have Super Maize. Super Maize Enterprise produces maize meal and instant soft porridge. They buy their raw material from Greyton Maize Farm. SME employees are members of SIACA, a well-known trade union. Identify three components of small oh identify the three components of SME's business. Motivate your answer by quoting from the scenario. So those are the things you have to know how to answer. But I'm gonna be doing a whole question paper on paper 1 after doing the two remaining chapters on paper 2, and I'm gonna answer all these questions, guys. So I was just showing you what has to happen. So you have to know how to identify components. You see, you have to identify components and motivate your answer. Thank you very much for watching. Until the next one.